So welcome back to my channel, and in this video we're going to talk about two of my successful exits recently. One is CAE, and that's actually something I entered earlier and exited earlier as well, and I kept the remaining position for greater profit. And the second position is Ulta Beauty, so that's a Sephora competitor. So let's get started. So now you can see the data here, which I have two companies that I exited earlier this week. One is CAE, which I covered earlier. It's in the airline industry. It doesn't fly any airplanes, but it is a flight simulation company. And it has a lot of software related to the airline industry. And after doing a lot of research, I know it is a good company with a good business model. So that's why I bought into it. Now, the second company is called Ulta Beauty. And this company is the competitor of Sephora. So for the ladies, you'll know what this company is. It sells cheaper cosmetics compared with Sephora, and it is actually quite popular in the United States. So initially, when it comes to Ulta Beauty, I actually wanted to invest in Sephora. And I know Sephora is a growing company, and I think, wow, that's amazing. But when I was doing a little bit more research, I realized that Sephora is under LVMH, which is Louis Vuitton, the company. And I didn't want to invest in that company because it was a little bit more complicated. It has a lot of other brands in it, which I don't necessarily know of or believe in. So then instead, I did a little bit more research and I came across Ulta Beauty. And I think it was also submitted as part of the coaching call within Investing Accelerator. And afterwards, I invested in both of these companies. For Ulta Beauty, I invested in October 2019. You can see it up here on the left. And for CAE, I invested in May 2020. So that means for Ulta Beauty, I actually invested before the crash. And that is very important because when you're looking at COVID, a lot of people lost money during COVID, especially when they're investing in retail, restaurants, food, cruise line, real estate. All these industries are heavily impacted by COVID. And this is a great example of how you can still make a positive return even though I invested before COVID, as long as you invest at a discount. So let's look at CAE. Now for CAE, I actually covered this earlier, and I had a two-part exit. And the first part I covered in the previous video, and this video, I'm going to cover the second part where I exited at approximately $24.63, and my price for entry is around $14.73. So my price for entry is $14.73, and this gives me a return for 67% for approximately 6 months of waiting. Now notice I don't say 6 months of work because I didn't really work or anything. I just made a good decision and I waited until it reached my target. And that's how investing is, it's very passive. And when it comes to the amount of capital invested, for my last 1/3 of this position, I really put it around $24,452. And I got out $40,886. So that is a gain of $16,434, which is a 67% gain. So that is actually not bad. And in total, if I look at my total gain for CAE, which I'll just calculate it right now, is 52% and rounded up to 53%. So that is pretty good for 6 months return, and I'm very happy for it. And let me just show you the chart for CAE. Now here is the chart for CAE, and you can see that there's actually a very strong trend. If you attend the free chart course I have below, you'll understand what I mean by the strong trend. And after COVID, it dropped significantly. So it is on a discount. So then after you analyze the technical analysis part of the company, you'll realize it is good buy. So then I actually bought around this area where my mouse is, and you can see it's somewhere between $19 to $20. And the reason why this price is different is because this is the Canadian price, and my price is actually the US dollar price because I have funds in US dollars instead of Canadian at that moment. So then afterwards, you'll see that as the economy is recovering, so on and so forth, the stock price has jumped to around $30 to $32 in Canadian, and that's when I exited. So the green line you see here at 28.9, that's my first exit. And this price, which you see is 32.5-ish, is my second exit, and now I have no more positions in CAE. So I would say this is a fairly good trade, and when you invest in companies at a discount and you understand their business model, you understand what they do, you understand how they make money, then you can become comfortable and become more confident when it comes to investing. Now, the second investment I made is actually Ulta Beauty, and this is before COVID. And this position is much larger, and I actually invested $93,204 around November 2019. Now, in this case, I actually used something called stock options, which is why the share number here doesn't make sense. So don't worry too much about it if you don't know what stock options are. It just allows me to multiply my profits. Now, in this case, the entry price I got was around $70 something, and I exited at around $99, $98. Now again, this is the stock option price. Now in terms of the value, I got out $117,900 from this investment. So that is an overall gain of $24,696. And this works out to be a gain of 26% over 13 months. Now, if you have been following my channel for a while, you notice that I aim for 30% return in 12 months. So technically, I actually did not achieve 30% in 12 months because I exited November 2020. But overall, I gotta say I'm fairly happy with this return because when I think about the period in which I'm investing in, which is before COVID, and I still got in at a discount for Ulta Beauty, and now we're out of COVID-ish, the cases are still rising in US, the economy is not fully recovered, a lot of people are unemployed, and I'm still able to make 26% from this investment. So I do feel very fortunate and grateful because by investing in companies when they're at a discount, I protect myself and I have a significantly lower downside. And that is very, very important. And basically, for the last two exits here, which is the ones I highlighted in green, and I did it this week, I made a total gain of $41,130. So that is pretty good for this week. And let me show you the chart for Ulta Beauty. Now here for Ulta Beauty, you'll see the chart. And for those of you who are really not familiar with technical analysis and how it works, then you can go attend the free chart course down below. It's free, just register for it. In mid-2019, there was a drop, and at that point, I did my research, I did my homework, and I know that Ulta Beauty is cheap because I know that it is a growing company, it's strong, the business model is good, and it's very similar to Sephora. So then I bought into it, and then afterwards, this is just where COVID hits, it dropped more, and I tried to get in at a lower price. I did my best, I have to say, and I got in at around $224. So my position is ranging somewhere between 240 something to 224. And then afterwards, it formed a bottom for a very, very long time. And recently, the Black Friday sales, it went up to almost $300. And that was actually my target. But then I decided I was happy with the return, so I just took it. Now, one of the interesting things about this video that I'm making for you right now is if you are watching this video a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years from now, you're gonna find that Ulta Beauty has probably gone up. And this is totally fine by me because when you're investing in a company and you decide to take profit, and if you invest in a truly great company, you'll always exit a little bit too early. You'll always leave some money on the table. You'll always not exit at a perfect time. And this is true when you're investing in a great company. And that is okay because when I free up my cash here, I can actually invest that in somewhere else. So a lot of people feel like they miss out when they are taking the cash away and later on they come back and check the investment for a year or two and it has gone up. And that is okay because when you invest in something that is great, it will always go up. What's important is you try to get in at a discounted price. What's important is that you truly understand the risk. What's important is that during the period you're holding, you're getting the return you want. And that is what is important when it comes to investing. And if you focus on those things instead of focusing what you're missing out on, then you will make a higher return over time. You will feel a lot more comfortable. You will stop punishing yourself because you miss an opportunity or two. For example, I invested in Lululemon a while back. And this was many years ago before the stock price went crazy. And I made 100% from Lululemon during that time, almost 100 if I remember correctly. But if you look at the Lululemon stock price today, you would have realized that it's gone up and up and up. And if I always look back, then you'll wonder, well, do I regret? Do you feel like you missed out? And the answer is no, I actually do not. Because after I exited the money from Lululemon, I invested in other opportunities like CAE, like Ulta, like American Express, like FedEx, where I covered in these videos earlier as well. So that's why you got to focus on your overall portfolio return. So if your overall portfolio return is hitting around 10 to 15% if you're using stocks, that is quite good already because you want to compare yourself to the S&P 500. If you are using stock options, then you need to give yourself a higher standard. Now for myself, I aim for 30%. So if you are getting 30% using stocks and stock options when you're investing, then I would say that's a fairly good return, so you should keep at it. And don't beat yourself up too much when you miss an opportunity, because there are 6,000 stocks across the US and the Canadian Stock Exchange, and there's no way that you'll know every single stock so well enough and capture every single opportunity. What's important though is for the opportunities you do capture that they're winners and your portfolio overall is growing at a 30% per year over a number of years. So I guess as we're coming to the end of 2020, I will make a video on my portfolio return for the last 5 years. I've been using this strategy for 5 years now, and so far it has worked out pretty well for me. I have gone through the oil price crash, not in 2020, the one in 2016. I've gone through the trade war between China and Trump. I have gone through the COVID market crash, and now here we are at the end of 2020. The unemployment rate is super high. A lot of people are out of their jobs. Feds are printing a lot of money. And so far, the portfolio is working out pretty well. So I think if you want to make a higher return and target 30% a year, that is definitely possible. But you do need the right amount of knowledge. You do need the right strategy. And you do need to have a long-term view. And if you put in the hard work, test out different strategies until it works, then you can get there by yourself. If you need a little bit help, then I can help you as well. So you can click on the link below and attend the free case study. So that is pretty much it for this video. Hopefully you learned something about how to deal with exits too early or too late when it comes to investing.